choosing a specialization is extremely important at the master's level. In your bachelor's, you have time to sort of fool around and choose whatever the stream that you want. But then when you're specializing at a master's or like especially at a PhD level, you really have to know what path you're choosing, if it's the right path for you and so on, right? So I thought I'd make a video for you guys so that you guys understand how you can go about choosing your specialization, right? Now, for a lot of you guys, you might be thinking that you'd be choosing your specialization based on the scope of jobs available, right? Now, the scope of jobs available thing, it's sort of like having an arranged marriage, right? It's outdated, right? So there's a lot more to look at when you're choosing your specialization rather than just the scope of the jobs, right? So what I would like to do is I would like to split this into 3 stages, all right? So the 3 stages are, the first is this discovery stage. This is where you first figure out what are the different specializations that you can go into. Like, for example, if you are like a mechanical engineer like me and you want to specialize in, one of the mechanical engineering fields, then that would be, the discovery stage for those fields. Or again, if you are a mechanical engineer, you want to switch into something else, let's say data science or digital marketing, whatever it is. And that would be, again, part of your discovery stage, right? So in the discovery stage, you're just sort of discovering all the options that are available to you. Then you have the exploration stage. So the exploration stage is where you sort of look further into what kind of jobs these specializations will lead to, what kind of pay is given to these specializations, where you can find these jobs, what are the kind of companies that sort of hire graduates from these areas, what are the fields that you'll be working in, what are the sectors that you'll be working at, what does your growth look like, and so on, right? So this is sort of the exploration stage. Then you have the testing stage. So the testing stage is the most important. That's where you're going to be actually making your decision, because you're going to dive right into the field that you want to get into, right? So in this video, we're going to go through each of these 3 stages, and I'm going to tell you guys how you can sort of go about, basically selecting your specialization through these 3 stages, right? So let's get started with the discovery stage. So in the discovery stage, like I said, you're just sort of discovering what are the options available to you, right? So here, again, there are 2 main categories. The first category is you're going to be specializing in your own field, right? So under your field, what are the deeper specializations, right? Now here is where you kind of want to do your research, right? For example, in mechanical engineering, when I was in college, a lot of our professors would tell us that there's like 3 main streams of mechanical engineering that you can go into. One is manufacturing, the second is design, and the third is thermal. So, only after, I graduated, I started speaking to more people, I started, sort of becoming more educated or like more informed, I realized that there's more areas that I can go into, and that's how I discovered robotics, right? So the same way, you kind of want to speak to not just your professors. Of course, they're definitely a good source of information, but there's also your seniors, or even like if you're working at a company, you can even speak to the people, your colleagues. You can do some Googling, what are some specializations in your particular stream, and that's how you can figure out what are the different areas that you can specialize in. Right? Now in the second category, you're going to be going outside of your specialization, right? Like I said, again, like suppose you're a mechanical engineer, you want to get into like data science or digital marketing and so on, right? So these are options that are open, right? So then again, you are going to be discovering what are the different ways that you can sort of leave your specialization, right? So then data science is like an awesome field where people from all sorts of specializations can sort of go into, right? It's like a very open field. Digital marketing, again, like a super hot topic that anybody can go into. Then we have, UI, UX design, and there's like a bunch of fields that people from all backgrounds can get into, right? So then you're sort of discovering these things. Again, professors are probably not a good idea for you to go figure out these areas. You could be looking at, your own seniors, your college seniors. You could be looking at maybe like the employment cell, like the placement cell or something of your college. You could just be doing, online research on, what are like the hottest topics or the hottest fields to get into and stuff. And generally these hottest fields will be open to like a general population. Like for example, data science, right? Anybody can get into it. So that's the discovery stage. You're sort of just figuring out what are the options available to you, right? This is very important. This is sort of how you can get all your cards on the table. Then we move on to the exploration stage. So the exploration stage, you're actually going to be, sort of shortlisting a few of the things that you're interested in, and then you're going to be diving deeper, right? So then what are the career options? What does your career path look like? What are the kind of jobs you can get? What would you be doing in those jobs? Like what are your day-to-day tasks? If you are like, say for example, data science or a digital marketer, what are your day-to-day jobs? What does the career path look like? What are the companies that hire in your field? Where are the places around the world where there's a lot of demand for this field? You're just sort of exploring each of these fields before you decide, right? Then we have the final testing stage, right? So that's the exploration stage. Now we have the testing stage. In the testing stage is like, where at this point you should have like, a a short list of at least like maximum 3 areas. I would say like ideal is like 1 or 2, maximum 3 areas that you've like sort of brought it down into, you know, that you're going to be specializing in, right? So now in the testing stage, you actually go in and test out what it's going to be like to work in those fields, right? So for example, when I was sort of discovering my own specialization, I came across robotics. I did a bunch of research. I saw that it was really cool. And then I wanted to figure out whether this was right for me. So I did a course on robotics, right? So the same way you guys could do like a course, there's like a bunch of websites that give courses, like Udemy if you want to go for like cheap courses, Coursera, EDX if you have a little bit more of a budget and you can sort of spend more, you can go for like, you know, a more in-depth course from like actual universities and stuff. So yeah, there's like a bunch of places where you can do a bunch of free courses on like a ton of different fields. Right, so same way, if you guys have narrowed down your options to 2 or 3, then I would recommend that you do short courses in these particular fields. Let's say like a 1 month or 2 week or 3 week courses. And then if you like that field, you can go even deeper, do like a 6-month specialization or like a 3-month course, or, you know, like something a little bit longer to sort of not only show your commitment to the admissions officers, but to figure out whether if this is, you know, truly the right path forward for you, right? So those are the 3 stages. You have the discovery stage, where you're sort of figuring out what are the different possibilities that you could go into. And then you have the exploration stage, where you're doing deeper research on what is the exact line of work that, you know, this particular field would lead into, what is the pay like, what is a career path like, what are the day-to-day activities. And then you have the testing stage, where you're actually trying to do those specific things. For example, if you want to be like a CFD engineer, you take like a CFD course, you do a bunch of CFD, see if you actually like CFD, right? So that's basically what it is. You know, testing stage, you're testing it out for yourself, seeing if that's something that you can see yourself in the long term, and then you specialize, and then you choose your specialization, and then you apply to college, right? So it's very important that you do this before you even start, you know, thinking about applying to college. This should be like the first step in your application, you know, in your grad school application process, right? Figuring out which program you want to get into. All right. So that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, leave a like, and if you loved it, subscribe as well. All right. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.